Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger from Virginia, one of those 7 freshman House Democrats in competitive swing districts who could no longer hold out and just joined the impeachment train. She is on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Welcome to Primetime.
Thank you for having me.
To be clear, in reading the letter to people that you put out with your fellow members of Congress, you're not saying you're ready to impeach. You're saying you're ready to look at the facts with an eye toward impeachment. Is that a fair clarification?
That is exactly correct, yes.
And when you give the different ideas of why, all of the bolded phrases here have to do with the instant circumstance surrounding Ukraine. Why?
So these are the allegations that have recently surfaced in the past week that are deeply, deeply concerning to me and to the colleagues who I joined with to create this letter. We deem that these allegations, as standalone allegations, demonstrate a grievous presence of potential corruption, a violation of the oath of office. And what is really troubling here is the notion that we have a president who potentially pressured a foreign country to provide information about a political foe and his family, and allegedly sought to use military assistance and security assistance dollars, taxpayer dollars, as leverage in that quest.
Allegedly is the key word. Just so the audience knows, if you Google Congressman Spanberger, you'll see she was a case agent for the CIA. Okay, so she's not coming at this blindly. What would be your threshold? Because to be fair, unless I'm wrong, you don't know what happened on the phone call yet. You don't know what the sum and substance of the complaint is yet. That's why I said, let's be clear, you're not ready to impeach, you're ready to look. What would be the threshold? What would you have to see in the call and in the complaint that would get you to what point?
Yeah, evidence and information related to what happened, what the president's motivations were, explicitly what his engagement with the president of Ukraine in those conversations, what happened, any other facts and evidence that might be available. You mentioned I'm a former case officer with the CIA. My whole job used to be to collect information that would allow informed policy. Before that, I was a federal agent. This is about potentially building a case to determine if there is something to charge the president with. But what I thought was important, what those of us who entered into this op-ed thought was important, is that we had to clarify that these charges, that these allegations against the president are of a different nature, are of a distinct nature.
Yeah,
and
why?
Frankly, if they are true, they're impeachable.
And that's what I want to talk to you about, Congresswoman, a little bit, because to me, I see irony in this, that what the Mueller probe was all about was, did anybody work with the Russians in their efforts to interfere in the election? And obviously, there was a spotlight on the president and his campaign. There was no criminal behavior. Some shady behavior, but no criminal behavior. Now, that's exactly what this is. Did the president go to a foreign power for help with his own election? So let's say the call is squishy. He talks about, you guys didn't look at Biden. I can't believe that. You know, you got real problems with corruption over there. But money isn't mentioned. Let's say the idea of him withholding the money, while it seems plausible, and let's say he even get some people to testify, but it doesn't seem like a straight quid pro quo. And what's in the complaint is a pattern of behavior where this president says things that this intelligence officer has never heard before that just sounds bad. Is that enough to impeach?
Well, I think it depends. And frankly, the whole purpose in beginning this investigation is to determine if these allegations against the president are true or false. And, you know, I think that it would be a false line to walk down to assume that everybody wants it to be true. It would be devastating for this country if these allegations, in fact, are true. But we, as the American people, we as lawmakers and legislators, we as those who were sworn to protect our Constitution, need to know definitively, yes or no, is this what happened? Are these allegations, do they bear truth? So that we can move on as a country in whichever direction is necessary, pending the outcome.
Are you open to anything not related to Ukraine? The efforts of, you know, everything that you guys, your party's been talking about for the last year and a half. You know, often on this show, I say to big-time Democrats, you know, if you believe what you're suggesting you believe, the Constitution makes it clear that you were supposed to be going down the road of impeachment a long time ago. Are you open to anything else?
If there's evidence to be presented, I have always been open to evidence that would speak to potential impeachable offenses. But thus far, I have not heard anyone describe specific allegations, specific articles that would potentially be put forward, apart from those that have been put in the past and never made it to the floor.
So all the firing of Comey and how the president handled the investigation and what he may have done that obstructed or not, you're not moved by that?
It's not that I'm not moved by that, but I have, when my colleagues on the committees of jurisdiction are ready to bring those before the larger House, I will weigh those facts and evidence as it's presented. But as of right now, there has not been a clear, concise allegation leveled against the president about what did happen or what didn't. People mention obstruction, people mention other allegations, but the actual case is not clear. With this circumstance, it is cut and dry. The president allegedly sought to influence a foreign leader, and he sought to use security assistance to our detriment, if the proof is there.
Let me ask you one last question, Congresswoman. You are not in a home run district for you. And that's why one of the reasons this needed to be a deliberative process. Makes sense pragmatically. If you go down this road as a party and you do not impeach, how bad do you think that is? And if you go down the road and you do impeach, but you do not remove and you don't have a shot and there isn't even a trial, how worried are you about that?
The voters in my district elected me, I hope and presume, because they trusted me to do my job with integrity and with principles and with them in mind. And I have been focused pretty much nonstop since I got here on health care and infrastructure and education and gun violence prevention. But I also have a duty to uphold the Constitution and protect everything that is important in this country. These allegations are so profound. I wanted to make it clear to my constituents and alongside my colleagues to the rest of the country that these allegations do represent impeachable offenses. Congress should take them very, very seriously, focus on our duty. And when we are going through that process in tandem, focus on the things that are important to the people back home: health care, infrastructure, trade, environment, gun violence prevention. We can do both. That's what I'm going to be focused on. But it is vitally, vitally important that we also ensure that we are protecting our democracy, that we are advocating for our democracy. I've sworn an oath multiple times in my life to protect the Constitution, and this most recent oath when I was sworn into Congress is no different. It's one I take very seriously, and I believe that my constituents respect that and respect that I will go through this process in a thoughtful way with the best intentions and with the best interests of the country in mind.
I hear you, and in the op-ed, you guys say the flagrant disregard for the law cannot stand. Will there be meat on the bones of that speculation remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, doesn't look likely to get a gun control deal done anytime soon.
We passed a great bill in the House already.
I know, but we know what's happening in the Senate, and now you have to believe resistance may be redoubled. Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger, thank you very much for making your case to the audience.
Thank you so much.